We did fight with the Wallaces, so us and the Rooses, Kendall, Nolan, and Therese, we fought with the Wallaces back in Scotland. We were a little bit smaller plan. We didn't get a movie. Mel Gibson kept it alive. It's cool. I'm not bitter. But let's say I'm digging into the archives, and I find something 700 years old. And I find that it's written, and it says some really interesting things that must be me. It says in this prophecy, and again, it's made up, so bear with me. There will be born a son in 1980, a son of the 18-year-old. He'll be raised up with his grandparents, the firstborn of a skilled worker and educated man. Born in a southern capital in a new country, he sees his family move at a young age. His family would come to faith in God through their youngest member, and that he'd walk away from the faith, or at least try to. But a relentless God wouldn't let him. He'd become a preacher, passionate about reaching younger generations, and he'd marry way up. What would be my response to reading this? What would be my response if I found that? I'd be excited. I'd be like, this has to be me. I was born in 1980. I was born to an 18-year-old. I was the son of a skilled and educated man. I have a sister who was the youngest of us that led us to faith in Christ. I married way up. I was born in I was born in Atlanta. I moved when we were young. It has to be about me. The only thing I would worry about, the only thing I would care about is the authenticity of this. Really, is it 700 years old, or did someone just make this up and just found out my stuff and found out? And then if it went on to say, he's going to do this, he's going to do something great and all that, I may not believe that I could do it, but I would believe it was going to come to pass because of everything else that came to be. You say, well, that's silly. That's just a fictitious story. I don't know. I love Psalm 139. It's kind of one of our family psalms. Verse 16 screams that you are not random, that you are not an accident. We can walk through Bethlehem. It's not. Charles Spurgeon, one of the great preachers ever, walked through just the circumstances that seemed random to where the census, why in the world they had to go back there, and why they couldn't just take taxes wherever they were. But all these circumstances that seemed random on the surface were behind the scenes of God working. In verse 16 here of Psalm 139, verse 16, his eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in his book before one of them came to be. Friends, if you know Christ, if you are in his relationship with him, if you have responded to his gospel, he has purpose. He's got promise for you. You may be poor in the world's eyes. You may be lowly by human standards. I'll stand up first for that. But in God's eyes, he wants to use you for great and mighty things. Okay, fine. You might not find a 700-year-old document outlining that in your family archives. That's fine. But I'm telling you, before that, before you drew your first breath, God knew what was going to happen in your life. And he wants to use your circumstances. Whether you feel like you had anything to do with them at all, he wants to use your circumstances. Even if it's by your own hands, you've made some mistakes and there's been some pain because of it. He still wants to use them. And just like those prophecies, 300 plus, just 40 that we read there, paint a vivid picture of our coming Messiah. So has God arranged things exactly how he wants to bring you to where you are, through the pain, through the circumstances, through the times you felt inadequate or unimpressive in others' eyes, through the failures. So my question is, are you willing this Advent season to respond to him by acknowledging his love and responding by saying, use me? I know, just like Bethlehem, I'm not impressive. I'm not great and mighty. I'm not Jerusalem. I'm not royal. I'm not Samaria. Not Greece. But I'm good God. If you would take my circumstances and take what I've got, would you use me? And that's what I want to ask you to pray right now too. I'm going to lead us in just a little time of prayer. I ask you to close your eyes and bow your heads. I'm going to